Hello, friends. Today we're diving into a topic that resonates with so many of us, the weight of perfectionism and how we can free ourselves from its grip. Living in today's fast-paced world, we're constantly exposed to images of perfection, whether it's through social media, flawless work presentations, or the expectation that everything we do must be without fault. It's easy to fall into the trap of believing that anything less than perfect isn't good enough. But what if I told you there's another way to live, one that embraces imperfection as a source of strength rather than a weakness? Before we get started, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Your input is always welcome, and I'd love to hear about your own experiences with perfectionism and how you're working to overcome it. Let's start a conversation and support each other on this journey towards self-acceptance and growth. Now, imagine a life where the pressure to be perfect no longer controls you. A life where you can be fully present in the moment, without the need to constantly edit, refine, and question your every move. That's the life the ancient Stoic philosophers from Greece and Rome suggest is possible. These wise thinkers, people like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus, didn't hold up perfection as the ultimate goal. Instead, they taught that real freedom comes from understanding and accepting our inherent imperfections as part of being human. When we're always striving for perfection, we're setting ourselves up for constant disappointment. We all know how it feels to chase that perfect social media post, that spotless home, or that error-free work report. But it's never quite enough, is it? No matter how well we do, we can always find something to criticize or improve. And that's exhausting. What the Stoics teach us is that this relentless pursuit of perfection is unnecessary. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most famous Stoic philosophers, reminds us that the universe is change, and our life is what our thoughts make it. In other words, it's not the external circumstances that dictate our happiness or success, but how we think about and respond to those circumstances. If we change the way we think about perfection, we can change our entire experience of life. You've probably had moments where the fear of not being perfect held you back. Maybe it was an assignment you couldn't bring yourself to turn in because it didn't feel flawless. Or perhaps it was a project at work that you kept revising and tweaking, never feeling like it was good enough to share. We've all been there. The Stoics would tell us that this fear and procrastination are not about the work itself but about our inability to accept that we are human, and humans are not perfect. Instead of letting that fear paralyze us, the Stoics invite us to look at things differently. They teach us to focus on what's within our control, our effort, our attitude, and our mindset. We can't control whether other people will like our work or whether everything will go exactly as planned. But we can control how much effort we put in, how we choose to view setbacks, and whether we approach challenges with a calm, thoughtful attitude. Think about a time when you were so focused on doing something perfectly that you lost sight of why you were doing it in the first place. Maybe it was a big project that left you burned out, or perhaps it was something small, like cleaning your house for guests. In both cases, the need for everything to be flawless took away from your ability to enjoy the process or even appreciate what you were accomplishing. The Stoics would encourage us to shift our focus. Instead of worrying about the end result, they ask us to embrace the process itself. It's in the journey, not the destination, that we grow and learn. When we're fully present and engaged in the process, we're more open to learning from our mistakes and less likely to feel crushed by them. After all, no one can be perfect all the time, and trying to be is not only unrealistic but also a surefire way to miss out on the joy and fulfillment that comes from simply doing our best. One of the most valuable lessons we can learn from Stoicism is the importance of self-compassion. Seneca, a Roman philosopher, said, "What progress, you ask, have I made? I have begun to be a friend to myself." This idea of being your own friend is incredibly powerful, especially in a world that so often teaches us to be our harshest critics. We wouldn't speak to a friend the way we sometimes speak to ourselves. So why do we treat ourselves with so much less kindness? If you've ever found yourself berating yourself for a mistake or a perceived flaw, ask yourself, would I talk to a close friend this way? The answer is almost always no. So why not give yourself the same compassion you would offer someone else? The Stoics believe that true happiness comes from accepting yourself as you are, flaws and all, and working from there. That doesn't mean we stop trying to improve or grow. It means we recognize that the road to improvement is built on a foundation of self-acceptance, not self-criticism. In fact, the Stoics were big believers in self-improvement. But they also knew that perfection was not the goal. Instead, they focused on what they could control, their own efforts and actions. Epictetus, who was born a slave but became one of the most influential Stoic philosophers, taught that while we can't control everything that happens to us, we can control how we respond to those events. This focus on what's within our control is key to breaking free from perfectionism. Perfectionists often focus on things they can't control, like whether others will approve of their work or whether their efforts will lead to success. The Stoics encourage us to let go of that need for control over external outcomes and to focus instead on what we can control, our own effort, attitude, and mindset. When we do that, we free ourselves from the anxiety that comes from trying to control the uncontrollable. It's not easy to let go of perfectionism, especially when society constantly reinforces the idea that anything less than perfect isn't good enough. But by practicing self-compassion and focusing on what's within our control, we can start to break free from that mindset. We can learn to see mistakes as opportunities for growth rather than as failures. We can begin to appreciate the process of learning and improving, rather than fixating on the end result. This approach is deeply liberating. Imagine a life where you no longer feel the need to be perfect. A life where you can embrace your flaws and imperfections as part of what makes you unique. That's the kind of freedom the Stoics offer. It's not about lowering your standards or giving up on your goals. It's about finding peace in the knowledge that perfection is not required to live a meaningful, fulfilling life. So, as we move forward, let's commit to practicing self-compassion, focusing on what's within our control, and embracing the process of growth and learning. The journey to self-improvement is ongoing, and it's one that's best traveled with kindness and patience toward ourselves. We don't have to be perfect to be worthy, to succeed, or to be happy. We just have to keep showing up, doing our best, and learning along the way. In the end, that's what life is all about. It's not about achieving some unattainable ideal of perfection. It's about living each day with authenticity, courage, and a willingness to grow. The Stoics understood this, and their wisdom still holds true today. We may never be perfect, but we can be perfectly human, and that's more than enough. Let's continue this conversation together. If you found these ideas helpful, leave a comment below, share your experiences, and tell me how you're working to let go of perfectionism in your own life. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with others who might benefit from it. We're all in this journey together, and the more we support each other, the more we can grow.